So the day is here. Outside of Not the Expert hooked me up with some early actual footage of what the draft classes and some sneak peeks of franchise mode looks like. Again, big shout out to him, man. I appreciate it a lot. The Madden 19 deep dive for franchise mode is here. You guys can go check it out. I'm not going to read it word for word, but all I can say is based off of what we got in an article, in a blog post, it is without a doubt the most in-depth. I remember last year we got like one thing versus franchise mode was like 10 pages. So that is awesome. So let's look into what we have here, what we already kind of knew about, what is new from the deep dive. So first, to start up with the Archetype Progression, we already were somewhat familiar with that, where players are going to be fitting into a scheme. There's going to be different skill points, different types of way to upgrade your player based off their base overall and their archetype overall, and it all goes hand in hand with how you use and manipulate your depth chart, which is all about immersion. So I think long term, this is a really good feature for us to see in franchise mode. Now, it needs to be executed properly. It can't be something that's cheesed. It can't be something that is too, I don't know. It's one of those things. It's the best of both worlds. It has to find its way to be in the middle, because either it's going to be too much in depth, too much to really worry about in your franchise mode, and a lot of the casual players are going to get turned off, and then that may, you know, pose EA to make a different change in Madden 20, make it simpler, or it could be too overpowered. If you get too invested in it, it could really be one of those things where I'm not going to say there's going to be bugs, but it could be one of those things you can exploit, and you do not want to see any exploits, and that is something that you always worry about in any game, regardless if it's Madden or another title, when they add new features, is there's going to be that segment of fan base that wants to try to exploit it. But I think, for me, adding in the archetype system is really big, and I think that, you know, ultimately all comes down to how much you want to be hands-on in building your team, and you want that reward of finding that guy in the 4th round that turns out to be perfect for your fit. Maybe he's not a great overall, but he's a perfect player for your fit and ends up being a stud. You want to find those guys that are low 70s in free agency, but they are the absolute perfect fit for your scheme, and they have career years with you. Kind of think of like maybe Nigel Bradham for the Philadelphia Eagles. Kind of got thrown to the wayside, came to Jim Schwartz's defense where he was a scheme fit, and he went off. So that is a long list of players. I think overall it is a big time upgrade, and they show you what you get here. This is a big news with this Stefon Diggs still about the deep threat. When you upgrade and you use those skill points, you get pluses, you get automatic boosts to your player's base overall, which is unreal. As you can see, you upgraded the deep threat for Stefon Diggs. You got +1 agility, 2 catch and traffic, 2 deep route, 1 jumping, 1 release. That's awesome, man. That is in its own way kind of the mold of the skill tree in NCAA 14, where so many people want coaching, coordinators, stuff like that, myself included. And I believe they've came out, I didn't make a video, but they came out and said that they just don't have the contract rights for it. That's why they haven't put coordinators in. But with, you know, there's no Bill Belichick. I think a lot of people will be happy with generic coordinators. But ultimately, this archetype system, getting the plus boost for your players overall, it's kind of the same thing. And I think that is absolutely awesome. So I think long-term, guys, this is it's a big get for me. You would have seen a bunch of pictures in the quote from what the archetypes are per position. But yeah, and then it goes into scheme fits and building the best scheme fit. I think, again, it's just, you know, schemes are already in the game. People are asking me like, what do you think about the new features? Schemes have been in the game forever, but I think the presentation of the schemes is very pretty. It's very easy. It has all the stuff in one little spot. It's not just like a little word menu. It kind of gives you some visuals. So I think that is really good, and it gives you a percentage, you know, to build your team up to get 100% scheme fit, which, I mean, I would probably make your team insanely overpowered. So I think that is awesome. We already kind of talked about the draft class creator, because Not the Expert hooked us up. Again, man, the biggest thing for me when you look at the custom draft classes is that it's just, there's no randomized feature. And I'm talking to Not the Expert. He kind of said they tried to push for it, but it got left out on the cutting room floor. It says you can edit the draft class. This is exclusive from him on Twitter, exclusive. You can edit the draft class any week up until the draft. Before the draft, if you import a draft class, you won't see the ratings unless you click edit draft class. So basically, if you want to cheat, you can. So all the player cards have been tweeted out in the past are going to be hard to believe from now on. So that's when people, you know, hit you up with those sick fines on Madden. So I don't know why they wouldn't have the randomizer though, because ultimately, if you it's again for the casuals, the casual people that are just going to quickly download a file from the Madden share. They don't really care. They're going to assume that someone did all the hard work, someone did all the legwork to have their player overalls. Now, I'm obviously going to want to make my own, But now, because of this, I may be inclined to download one because I don't want to know them. It's the joy, it's the thrill in it to see if guys are going to be good. And as I stated in the draft class video, you know, you want to make sure that the good players are going to be good. You want to make sure the Ed Olivers, the Justin Herberts, all these realistic players, they're going to pop in, aren't going to be some 71, 72 overalls. But it's just a do if you don't, do if you do. Because either, you know, you make sure and ensure those good players are going to be good, and you know the rating, so when it comes to draft time, it's not that surprising. Or you just go completely randomized, and, you know, you take a chance that they kind of suck. But, you know, it's the beginning. This is the first year that they added this back in. They're definitely going to build on it. I would assume maybe they have like a mid-season edit or addition, an update, where they make it so that you can randomize your player position. But until then, I'm still happy that the feature is in there. They have depth chart positions where everyone knows they added in slot corners, they added in like power backs, slot wide receivers. There's a little screen. That's good, man. More immersion, again, goes into building your depth chart. And I love seeing that it's actually its own position now, slot wide receiver, as you can see here from the screen cap with Danny Amendola. It's huge, man. And getting power backs that can come in on goal line and third down is awesome. The player ratings itself, there's added a bunch of new player ratings: break tackle, break sack, which determines whether a quarterback will escape a sack inside the pocket. So Carson Wentz is probably gonna have like a 99 of that. Throw under pressure, run block power, run block finesse, lead block, pass block power, pass block finesse, short route running, medium route running, and deep route running, which we kind of knew about a couple months ago. But again, man, all these ratings are fine. None of these ratings sound like they're useless, and that is the best thing, because right now it does feel like some of the ratings in Madden are absolutely useless, like awareness on defensive players. And it just, you know, sometimes I remember in Madden 17, people said like certain pass blocking stats did not matter as long as you had, like strength, for example, did not matter as long as you had everything else was maxed out. So more overalls is better. The menus look good, man. The menus look good. You get to see players in the locker room, and you get to see all this stuff. Again, I don't want to say it, but it looks like a little bit of like a long shot inspiration, and we all know that the new creative director is coming from long shot, because this could be a sneak peek of what is to come in Madden. But they drastically needed a big time overhaul. Again, going back to the draft class, they have the draft board thing where you actually are at the draft. Again, that's more inspiration from long shot. Your player flexes. If they have superstar, they give they give you the Hulk Hogan if you get the superstar pick, as we saw from my draft video. Or, you know, I think that's just cool, man. I think that's pretty awesome. Snapshots are something that was leaked, where essentially you can just get a highlight from one of your players and it follows you throughout the franchise mode. Again, more about immersion. It's something that was pretty damn simple. They added it in. Immersion's great. Team captains makes sense. But ultimately, man, I think John White, shout out to John White. Talked to him on Twitter a lot. He's like, you know, the kind of the face of franchise mode a little bit. I guess the go-to guy to talk to. I'm impressed, man. I am very, very excited about Madden 19. I know there's always going to be the negative Nancy's that complain about everything, that never are pleased. But for me, it's a, at the very worst, I can't see anyone hating on this. I think from going from where we were last year in Madden 18 to Madden 19, you should be at the very least optimistic that franchise mode is going where we need to take it in the future. So that's pretty much where I'm at with it, guys. So let me know what you guys feel about the dev blog on franchise mode. What do you like? What do you don't like? What do you want to see? As always, thank you for watching. If it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.